Okay, we are live, everybody. Welcome back to Nerd Culture Clash. Welcome to the first show of the year. Howdy!
Yay.
And this is going to be our year in review. We're going to talk about some of the things that we liked, some of the things that we didn't like about last year, and if there's time, we're going to maybe talk about some of the things coming out this year that we're looking forward to. Real quick, before we do get started on that, though, I do want to let me share this real quick here. There that. Unfortunately, if you guys were aware of this weekend, I had the opportunity to talk to a really cool creative team. The creative team on Graveyard Shift. Oh, yeah, I wish. The creative team on Grim Reaper, Carla and John. Unfortunately, they ran into some unfortunate circumstances this Monday. Their house burned down, and it's total loss. They lost everything. So there's a GoFundMe that's been set up for them, and the link to all their social media and to the GoFundMe is in the description for the show here. So if you could go there and maybe drop $5 or something like that, help them out. They're really, really nice people, and they could really, really use the help. I wanted to put that out there real quick. Frank is saying, let me in. All right, hang on a second, dude. Copy that. All right, post that in the chat. All right, there you go, man. Also, anybody who comes in later, if you want to come in here and hang out and just talk with us, the link is always in the description like that. We always invite people to come in and hang out. But yeah, I don't know if you got any of you guys watched that interview I did with them over the weekend. It was a really cool couple, really cool couple, and this was I found out this is like what the man it was one of those things. It was like I was literally just talking to them. And yeah, but again, really good, really nice people, really cool people, and wanted to get this out there so that everybody can see and know. Welcome, Hollywood, Frank.
Let me in.
Oh God, I'm over that storyline. Okay, so real quick. Oh, one other thing, real quick here. Nope. Back to the stream here. We stop that. Tom, I wanted to share this with you because I know that you're a big fan of this. But
of what?
Matthew Weldon's Punchline, the hardcover and the trade paperback for Punchline is now up, and you can actually get it cheaper than it will be when it's in the stores. So Matthew Weldon is a really cool artist. Came out of CG, really nice guy. Zach 2.0 is what we call him because he sounds exactly like the guy. But yeah, I'm like, if you guys, if anybody who's ever watched the show knows, I've been a big fan of Punchline since they started putting it out, and this you can actually get. They have a digital version as well if you're a little strapped for cash, but they have the hardcover trade paperback, and they're all on here for much less than like the Super Frenemies hardcover, which I think is the entire run of it all the way up to issue. What are they up to now? I think they're up to issue 10 now.
Oh, something like that.
Yeah.
Is it 9? The last one I saw was 9.
Is it 9? Actually, I think you know what? I think you're right. I think 10 is about to come out. Yeah, but yeah, because there's 8, and then this was 9. No, this is 10 right here. This is the one that's about to come out. This is the faux Star Wars cover, which is dude, Matthew Weldon is just awesome. I love this dude's art, dude. And I've got the issue of Black Ops, the next Black Ops book. I've got that reserved. So yeah, right here you can actually get each of the you can get both hardcovers for $60 if you wanted to get both of them. Where you can get trades for both of them for $20, which I think is like $5 or $6 cheaper than if you bought it in the store. But even if it's not, it's just cool to help these guys get this funded, because they're basically doing like what we were talking about earlier, George, where they kind of fund the creation of the book and everything, and then they get it into the stores. So that's something we were talking before the stream started. We were talking about how crowdfunding, a lot of people using crowdfunding to kind of offset the creation of their projects and whatnot.
Yeah, that's an exciting model. Yeah, a very exciting model.
Oh yeah, and I think that's definitely a way for a lot of creators to like get their stuff done and kind of not have to worry about getting killed by cost. But yeah, I knew you were gonna. I saw that and I was like, ooh, I'm gonna have to do that. And I was like, I gotta show that to Tom.
Yeah, I'll definitely be checking that out. So.
Yeah, there's a couple of projects I need to check out. But anyway, welcome everybody. And so 2019 is done, and there's some good. There was some crap, and we're gonna talk about that today. So off the bat, I figured we'd talk about since we do a lot of movie reviews on here, we talk about our favorite, what were our favorite movies, and then what were our, I got, I don't know about you guys, but I got a pretty decent list of movies that were good this year. I was actually surprised. This was, there were some good ones. This was a good year for movies. Unfortunately, this is also there were some really bad ones. I mean, my list is like I actually had to trim my list down. But Tom, I'm gonna let you go first, man. Give me start with like your number 3 movie. What you got?
Oh God, number 3. Well, number 3, it's not necessarily that good of a movie, but I certainly enjoyed it. And that was the Ready or Not.
Oh yeah. That actually ended up being a much more clever movie than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, the previews were a little, I don't want to say flat, but didn't quite give you more about what the movie was about. So, but yeah, when I went to go see it, I really did enjoy it. It really really worked for me. So,
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and share the trailer for that. Put that up there for anybody who's never seen it. When we went and saw it, I thought it was I was kind of expecting like a cheesy horror film, and it
was, but it wasn't. It was well made. I mean, they actually had a budget.
Yeah, that didn't hurt. And also the fact that it actually kind of turned into like this morality play where these people were like, some of them didn't want to do this. Like they legitimately were like, yeah, I don't want to be a part of this.
Some of them were more like apathetic about it. They're like, oh, do we gotta? Like,
yeah.
Well, yeah.
But then some of them were like, yeah, I'm into this. Let's do this.
Yeah, the ant was really into it. It's like 50 years ago, you killed my husband. Now we're gonna
kill your girlfriend, your fiance is, it was his wife at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it was one of those movies where it's like the parts of it that were comedic. There were actually comedic parts in it, and it was like there was some dark humor in it, but it was really good humor. Because usually in horror films, you end up with crap humor.
Yeah.
But this one was actually pretty good. And then like you said, man, like that was the chick right there, the one who put the hood over her head just now. She's the one that was like really into it.
That was the aunt.
Well, the older aunt too, yeah. But then the one guy's wife, remember, she was like, I worked too hard to go part of this family to just lose everything now.
Yeah.
But did you see this movie, Frank?
Of course.
What'd you think?
I liked it a lot. I actually have it on DVD.
Oh, wow. Did they add anything to it on DVD, like any extra scenes and stuff?
I just picked it up. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, okay. George, I don't know if you're into this kind of a movie. Did you check this one out?
No, I haven't seen that movie, but it does sound interesting.
It's pretty funny, and it's got a really funny ending.
And who's the director on this?
Do not know who the director is on this. Give me 1 second here. Ready or Not. I don't think it's anybody major, anybody that's really known. Ready or Not director. Yeah, Matt. I'm gonna butcher this name here because I suck at names. Matt Bertinelli Olpine and Tyler Gillette. I have no idea who those people are.
Me neither. But it sounds like it's worth checking out.
Yeah, that's actually, I didn't put that on my list though.
It was actually a lot of fun. I really, it's from the commercials and stuff. It was a lot. It was both a little more intense, and let's at the plot of the movie. They actually, it seemed like they actually did put some thought into it. A lot of, just like slasher movies, which I guess this would fit under slasher. I mean,
I don't know if it would fit under slasher, but it's definitely.
I mean, the whole family's trying to kill her.
Yeah.
But it's not. I really wouldn't call it horror per se, but it kind of is. So.
Yeah. The actress, George is asking who the actress was. Her name's Samara Weaving. I'm not sure what else she's been in.
She's done a lot of B horror movies.
Yeah. Wasn't she in one of the G.I. Joe movies?
I don't know.
Oh no, she's gonna be in Snake Eyes.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, and she's also gonna be in the new Bill and Ted. I think she's supposed to play one of their daughters or something.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's look at her IMDb here real quick. The Babysitter. That's the other movie I saw her in. That's really funny too.
I haven't seen that. So
yeah, she's at the The Babysitter, and I think that's the only thing I've ever seen her in besides that. Yeah. Oh no, that's right. She was in Ash vs. Evil Dead, the TV series.
Oh, the TV show. Okay.
Yeah, but like you said, she does a lot of like B horror stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, dude, good choice, man. That's a good one. I forgot about that one. I forgetted. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do one of mine.
Oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah, just sit down and shut up. Mine is I'm gonna put Alita Battle Angel on my list. I really liked Alita, man. I know there's people that are like, it's basically you either loved it or you hated it. Mm-hmm. I recognize that if you're like you, Tom, like you were talking about, is like if you hadn't been a fan of the manga beforehand, you would have loved the movie. Would have been awesome. You would have loved the movie, but because all the stuff they took out.
Yeah, every issue I have with it was how badly they butchered the story and how they really didn't completely destroy the possibility of a sequel, but the best sequel that they would have had, they pretty much can't make that sequel now. They can go to the third part of the story, but the second part.
This would have been a terrific series. A terrific TV series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if I don't know if they can't, I don't know that they can't do it, that they can't do it now. It's just that it's going to be weird because they're going to be like going backwards now.
Well, yeah, they could go back and do the whole rollerball story. I mean, that's a movie in and of itself. But they kind of already...
They glossed over it in that last segment.
Well, they glossed over it, and then... God, you can't even do the third part of the series because that is going after Dr. Nova to bring him back, but he's already in Zellum. So
he's already in Zellum, yeah.
He's basically running the place, and the whole third part of the plot was the people from Zellum sending her to go get him back and bring him back to Zellum.
Yeah, but But like I was like I said, I'm not quite as big a fan of it as you are. I've read the manga before. I didn't read it as extensively as you did. Mm-hmm. So I just thought to me this is like one of the best adaptations for an anime or a manga that they've done so far.
And that's basically what it is. It was an adaptation of the anime they did. It wasn't an adaptation of the manga. So
yeah, but thought the fights were cool. The effects are great. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. And I'm not saying this is the best movie, but I had a lot of fun with it.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it thoroughly, considering how much I could hate on it. I really did. The stuff that they did right, they did really well.
Yeah.
Like the whole fight in the sewers with the grind cutters was pretty much the way it went in the manga.
I completely forgot about that, where she got like completely decimated.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean they did a good job with it. I really did enjoy it.
The interesting thing about this is when I was watching this movie, the one thing that kept on popping into my head is for their entire production could have easily funded 5 seasons of a full CG series that they could have easily nailed the manga beautifully.
Yeah.
And because if you look at it, what's it? 70% of this is all CG.
Yeah. It's either CG or CG overlay. Yeah.
And they spent a ridiculous amount of money. It looks beautiful, but they could have cut the budget by 25 down to 25% and had five seasons easily. And it would have been absolutely spectacular because I mean, have you do you remember any series other than Spawn that was rated R?
Oh God, it's been a while.
It's tough.
Yeah. What about you, Frank? What'd you think?
I agree with Tom. I mean, they just put too much, and you got to go from 1 to 3. They just could have done a better job with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I agree. I think it would be better as a TV series on like HBO Max or Disney Plus type thing than it would be on a movie.
Yeah, it's there's so much story to it. That's another problem too. Like this is one of those things where it's like trying to adapt it to a film is like how much are you gonna. It's not about how much you're gonna keep in. It's how much you're gonna cut out. And let's see, what is the Mandalorian budget? So the Mandalorian had a budget of 15 million per episode. And I think Alita had like $100 million budget. So yeah, you could have done like a 6-episode miniseries or something, and you could have been on that level. So yeah, I mean it's one of those things where it's like for what it is, it's I thought it was really good, but obviously it's it's never going to be quite what it could have been. Yeah. But and that's why it was my number 3 movie. Okay, Frank.
That's tough. Number 3. There's some good movies that came out this year, but for me, number 3 would be John Wick Chapter 3.
Yeah, it's on my list too, man.
The interesting thing about that Battle Angel trailer that we saw, they had a lot of shots from the third act. And whenever you have shots in the third act of a trailer, it means that their focus group wasn't favorable.
Really? Yeah, actually, I know that there were a lot of people that were just put off by her look. And if you watch the first trailer they put out versus the final product, they actually did kind of scale her eyes down and like alter, like they tweaked her appearance a lot.
Yeah.
But if you know the story like we do, she's supposed to look like that. She's supposed to look like a doll.
Yeah. She has the really big eyes and
right, the really small mouth, and it's like she's supposed to look like a baby doll. And but like you said, a lot of people were put off by that, and which is obviously it was obvious they did a lot of tweaking on that movie. But John Wick, man, obviously, I mean, what is there to say about this movie? It's Keanu Reeves doing gun fu for an hour and a half.
Usually, when the movies sequels, they get worse. This, I think, has actually gotten better over the movies since number one.
See, I've actually had people disagree and say the exact opposite. They felt like the first one was better than all of them, which I think I have to put myself in that category. But I did like this movie. I thought it was. I mean, these movies are just fun. You know what I mean?
Well, they're just fun. But the one thing that I gotta say that I really am very impressed about, not the movies specifically, but through all three of them, whoever the writer is for this, they have a world built that this story is set in that they actually took the time to think about and have set. They're not just like thrown together like, oh, and now they're going to do this. It's like, well, but that contradicts what you did in the other movie. I mean, the whole thing, at least so far, has definitely been in one setting, and this is the way the setting is, and this is the way things work in that world. And I imagine they're just going to keep giving glimpses into it because they've never sat down and just like, here's the timeline of this world. I mean, there's obviously the I keep wanting to call it the chair, the
High Council.
The High Council or whatever it is. The table.
The table.
I know it's some furniture thing.
chair, table.
It's like
on wall or something like that.
Let's forget Kirk Roller. What's the chair?
But there's this organization that it certainly sounds it's a mafia organization that runs the world. John Wick and whatever legendary assassinations he carried out is the guy that allowed this organization to now have control over the world. And each city has its own little mafia king, and they run the hotel or
the Continental. Yeah.
Each city has its Continental hotel that's where that's the local organization, fiefdom, whatever you want to call it, that answers to the table. And then everybody in the city answers to this person. So there's a world that is built there that somebody put some thought into. And yet these movies are just, like you said, hour and a half of Keanu Reeves doing gun fu. So they're fun to watch. But the thing that I've really been impressed with is somebody put some thought into this.
Yeah. The guy who wrote it is Derek Kolstad.
Yeah, I would really like to see have them do that story, have them go more into the explanation of the table. Just more background of they need to come out with a Silmarillion for this.
Well, you're going to get your wish, man, because they are slated. He's slated to write a series called The Continental. He's also slated to write. He's also slated to write John Wick 4, and he's the writer on the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV series. So it'd be interesting to see what comes out of that. But what were we going to say, Frank?
No, I was just laughing with the table, the coffee table, the chairs, the bench, the ottoman,
the coffee mug,
and Halle Berry with those dogs. Man, I love that part.
You know what? I like Halle Berry. I actually thought the scene with the dogs was a little overdone.
Well, obviously the writer likes dogs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. I still thought it was cool, but I just thought that scene. I was like, okay. Again, like that's
shot my dog.
It's not quite to the point where I'm like, okay, that now we're getting a little ridiculous, but I was like, damn, those dogs are like superhuman.
Yeah, the one thing about this movie that I always watch movies with a critical eye. I was having a hard time figuring out where the visual effects kicked in and where the practical effects kicked out.
Yeah, that's actually a good thing.
Oh, it's terrific. I mean, the part where they're throwing the knives, are going like, okay, is that a CG? Was that CG? Or was that real? I mean, did the guy really take a knife to the chest? I'm pretty sure that he had, some sort of vest or some wood underneath his shirt just to take that knife. There's no way. That's the kind of thing that was just going like, man, that was terrific.
The only complaint I actually have about the movie is in this last one, who loads a shotgun like that?
Real quick, Lost in Comics just jumped in. He said, what's up, fellas? Welcome, Lost in Comics. Appreciate you being here, man.
Hello.
Hello.
Where to go here? Yeah. That's when I went to school for 3D anime for 3D modeling way back in the day. That was one of the things that we used to do is we would go watch movies and we would try to see where the grade the CG. It's like, where does it come in? Where does it break? Things like that. And the best CG is the best computer graphics are the ones that you can't tell that they're there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like one of the we used to say that one of the best things, one of the best judges of CG of computer generated graphics is when you're doing backgrounds. If the background doesn't pull you out of the movie, then they're doing a really good job on it. But let me drop this in here. Okay, as always, we always drop this the link to the StreamYards in here if anybody wants to come in here and shoot a fat with us. But okay, so John Wick Chapter 3, that's Frank's. Tom, you're up. Actually, George, what do you got?
Yeah, don't forget George.
Okay, well, George. I agree with everything so far, and the mine was Ford versus Ferrari.
I haven't seen that one yet. That's one of the ones I have to see yet, and everyone tells me it's awesome.
It was simple. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I wasn't looking for visual effects. All I was looking at is the performances. Mm-hmm. I knew of the history, but Matt Damon, good God, that guy was absolutely spectacular in that. I mean, yes, the other guy who used to play Batman, I don't know his name.
Christian Bale.
Yeah, I'm joking. But Matt Damon, gosh darn it, that guy really played that Southern charm in there. It was amazing.
Well, he's one of those guys that whatever part he takes on, man, if it's a part he really, really likes, he turns into that person. You know what I mean? Like he becomes especially actor. Yeah. Well, it's like especially if it's a real person, he literally steps into that person's body. So.
Oh, totally, absolutely.
Yeah, he was in what was The Departed with Leonardo DiCaprio. Man, he was awesome in that movie. He's not even in that movie for very much, but every scene he's in is just fantastic. He's one of those guys. Whatever scene he's in, he's just you're immediately going to be focused on him. But yeah, I that's one of the movies on my list I have to see. I haven't seen that yet, so.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good. I haven't seen it, but I've heard nothing but good things about that. And most of the time, people are just like, it's just a good, solid movie. It's well acted, well directed. The pacing's good, well written. So
and the humor, it was subtle. It wasn't in your face, and in some cases, it built up to the punchline, and that's what really made it work so well. It actually built up to a punchline that was happening minutes or tens of minutes later.
Or even like
real life.
Well, the one scene that I saw that they had one of the longer trailers I saw for it was the one where the two of them were fighting in the street, literally just punching each other. And then the wife actually got a lawn chair, just put it in the front lawn and just sat there and watched them fight, and then came over with beers afterwards. There you go, fellas.
Yeah. That was in The Mandalorian when he was fighting the ex-trooper.
Yeah. Yeah, someone mentioned that. But yeah, that's the movie. That's one I gotta get on my. I gotta watch. That's on my list though. But, all right, Tom. What's your number 2?
Well, I'm gonna go straight to my number 1 and figure out something else for number 2 because you stole my number 2 with Battle Angel.
Okay.
And since we already talked about that, I know a lot of people disagree with me, but I'm going with Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
That almost made my list, man.
Because it's Godzilla, so points just for that. And
yeah,
this was a much better movie than the first Godzilla, of the reboot one. For one thing, it was literally lighter. You could see a lot more of what was going on. It wasn't as 2 giant monsters fighting in the dark. Yeah, that was fun to watch. So,
I think I caught the silhouette once or twice.
Yeah, so this was I really liked it. It was good. Of course, I'm a Godzilla fan, so unless they really butcher it, I'm gonna be on board with that. So
this one was the one I like. I think they got Godzilla right this time. They got it right this time. It was 2/3 of the movie was monsters fighting.
Yeah.
And that's what you want in a Godzilla movie. It's like, I don't need 2 hours. I didn't need an hour and a half of Bargain Channing Tatum talking, and 15 minutes of Godzilla. I want to see the monsters kicking the crap at each other.
Just give me a premise for the 2 of them to be duking it out and go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And it's a good thing that's the what they went with, because the premise for this movie was dumb.
Oh gosh, yeah. But you know what? There's something interesting about Godzilla is that they shouldn't have killed Bryan Cranston off in the first one. They should have.
No.
He should have ended up being the villain. He should have ended up being the eco villain that is in Godzilla 2. It would have been great if it was Bryan Cranston, because then you actually can roll Godzilla into a trilogy and have the bad guy Bryan Cranston going after Godzilla, and that way you have a semblance of just like they did with Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. There was a nice narrative that just flowed between 3 movies.
Yeah. Well, what I thought would have been cool is like if he had been like the guy was behind Vera Film, or however you pronounce her last name, the lady who was the one screwing everything up. The scientist was waking them all. Who was basically trying to end the world. If he had been the one behind her, and then you could have had this clash between him and Ken Watanabe's character, because Ken Watanabe's character was the exact opposite. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where they should have gone with that. And I agreed. That was something that a lot of people were really unhappy with the first movie, was they felt like it was a bait and switch, because all the promotional material had Bryan Cranston, and the guy dies within, what was it, like 30 minutes of the movie?
Yeah, the first half hour or so. Yeah.
Yeah. But hey George, you're muted, by the way, just in case you didn't know.
Yeah, I'm muted just because we're also cooking in the background. Don't want you to hear the clanking of spoons and forks. And sizzling chicken.
Sizzling chicken.
This is like turned into food porn. All right. Okay, yeah, that one almost made my list, but I left it off because I got 2 other movies that are like big time on for me. But all right, so my number 2.
Just thought of a number 1. I got to write it down. Go ahead. Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I freaking love this damn movie. Oh my god. And I'm not a big. I'll be honest. I'm not a big fan of Leonardo DiCaprio, but he killed it in this movie, man. I love this movie. It's basically this whole movie. The underlying story about this whole movie is how fake Hollywood is.
What?
You know what I mean?
Hollywood's not fake.
I am shocked. I tell you, shocked.
But I'm telling you, man. I went in this movie with actually kind of low expectations, because, like I said, I'm not a really big fan of Leo DiCaprio, but I'm a big fan of Brad Pitt. And I'm a big Tarantino fan. So, when this movie started, and I knew that they were gonna it was gonna touch on the Manson family storyline somehow. But the thing with Quentin Tarantino, you don't know if he's going to go accurate or if he's going to go with his alternate reality stuff that he does, like he did with Inglourious Bastards. So I actually like the fact that he did that, because that's one way to keep you guessing, because you don't know exactly what's going to happen, because he's not completely following history. But dude, this movie was just so much friggin' fun, man. Cue entry by others.
Despite what everybody else said about this movie, I totally believe that Bruce Lee fight.
Oh, you know what? Here's the thing. I know a lot of people were upset with it, and I get it. But what I don't think they understand is that wasn't meant to be an accurate depiction of Bruce Lee. It was meant to be the Hollywood depiction of Bruce Lee. Again, you got to remember that the underlying story of everything in this movie is that Hollywood is fake. But on top of that as well, the guy that Brad Pitt's character is based off of, he's actually based off of a real stuntman and a guy that was actually friends with Bruce Lee, and that dude was a freaking badass. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but that guy was like a legit, like he was like a Green Beret, and he'd fought in World War II in Korea, and he's a martial artist himself.
Oh, you know? And everyone associated with Bruce Lee back then, I mean, they were at the top of the game. I mean, when I was in high school, my Hapkido karate master was Master Wong. He was the Korean bad guy in Return of the Dragon.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah, and he told us stories about Bruce Lee, and the stuff that you hear about it it's all true.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing too, is like Bruce Lee, regardless of what you think about him, he was a great philosopher. You know, that's one of the things that's the true gift that he left everybody, was his philosophy. But the Hollywood idea of him was that he was this unbeatable character. And this movie is basically, everything about this movie was showing how fake Hollywood is. And it's like, no, it's that depiction of Bruce Lee, the character in the movie was not the real Bruce Lee. It was the Hollywood impression of Bruce Lee. It was like an actor playing a caricature of him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you look at it through that lens, it's like, okay, well, then I totally get it. You know what I mean? But yeah, dude, I love this movie. The ending of this movie is bonkers. But yeah, man, this is one I'm definitely going to buy when it comes out. All right, Frank, over to you, man. What's your number 2?
Go Hug an American.
Dude, don't steal my number 1.
Jojo Rabbit.
I still don't know how this movie got past the friggin' censors, man.
Why? I mean, I don't see why it.
As touchy as people are today, man. It's a movie about a boy in the Hitler Youth. I mean, are you serious? Oh my God, this movie. You know what though? This movie actually surprised me a lot though, because I knew it was going to be a comedy, but man, when it gets dramatic and it gets dark, it gets dark. It gets really dark, and it's like, oh my God. Which amazes me that Taika Waititi, the guy that did Thor Ragnarok, is the one who did this. I was like, holy crap. But I love that part where he's putting the poster and the face keeps changing.
In the whole Heil Hitler scene.
Oh, where we're just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
Hitler. Did somebody else walk in the room? Hitler. But yeah, it was.
And the cast in this movie had a much bigger cast than I thought it than you would think. It had friggin' Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. It had Taika Waititi himself as Hitler.
Sam Rockwell.
Had Sam Rockwell. Dude, his character stole the freaking I love that scene right there. That scene right here. Hang on a minute.
I designed the uniform myself.
This scene right here, George. Have you seen this movie, George?
No, it's on my list. I want to see it.
Oh my God, man! This movie, Sam Rockwell's character in this movie is a freaking riot.
Well, the fact that those two characters are gay, and you watch the movie and you're just watching, yeah, they're gay, but nobody else in the movie, or nobody else in Jojo Rabbit, picks up on it.
Yeah. Well, it's really subtle though, man. It's really, really subtle though, because they're like, it's like if you like, as long as you're paying attention to the movie, you get it, you know. But it's not like they just like grab each other and start kissing or anything. And like, it's just like he's worried about.
They're like, are these two going to kiss? And then they finally like kind of back away from each other. Like, yeah.
But just the humor in it, even the humor where they're tackling subjects like genocide and stuff like that. They find a way to do it with some humor to it. Like when the SS comes to their house,
Gestapo.
the Gestapo, they come to their house and they're like, dude, those guys look like ghouls.
Yeah, they literally look like the undead.
And they're like looking at it like, oh, it's funny because it's true. it's just, oh my God, dude, the movie is so damn funny.
Like I said, it took time forever to go see it.
Oh my God. I had to drive out to the east side of Cleveland, almost to Akron, to see it.
You should have gone to Westlake.
Yeah, should have gone to Westlake, man.
But no, the one thing I would like to say though is, as funny as the "Go Hug an American" line is, I really thought that the funniest line in the movie was, "Well, you could babysit the clones."
Yeah. There's all these little allusions to what's the word I'm thinking of here? Conspiracy theories and stuff about what the Nazis were and what they did and whatnot. But no, but like I said, when it does get dramatic though, it gets really, really dark.
Yeah.
And so it's be prepared when you watch this movie, George, and anybody else who watches this video later, be prepared because there are some scenes that they just come out of nowhere.
Watch the movie, then you're just like, oh shit.
Yeah, you just get gut punched. But yeah, this was definitely one of my I think this was my number. It was either my tie for number 1 or number 2.
Yeah, but JoJo's little buddy was awesome too.
Oh, that little kid is so different. It's not a good day to be a Nazi. Just hearing that come out of that chubby little kid with glasses is like, oh my God.
Oh, you got a uniform, a real one? Wait, is this paper?
Yeah, it's the newest thing. It's, oh my God. But yeah, George, you definitely got to check this out. We're not going to ruin any more of the movie for you, man.
Yeah, don't worry about it, but I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yeah, but okay. So Frank, that's your number 2. All right, George, what do you got?
Well, I was thinking about this whole thing, and then there was this movie. Well, you guys mentioned most of the stuff already, so I'm just going to throw this out there. One of the movies that I saw during the summer is that, what's his name? Robert De Niro, Al Pacino.
Oh, The Irishman.
Irishman.
Yeah, that's another one I haven't seen yet.
I like the subtlety of that movie, and the reason why I like the subtlety of that movie is, unlike Goodfellas and all that stuff, the killings, they really toned down the killings, and they worked up the characterization, the interactions, and you really got to understand. I mean, I'm hoping that, yes, it's all based on actual events and real characters and all that stuff. I hope that they actually portray them as close to the reality that it was.
Mm-hmm. And, it was. I mean, I don't know how realistic it was, but the way that they went about things, because it was, like you said, it wasn't like over the top like Goodfellas. it was very it's done in a very realistic very realistic way. And also another thing that we should talk about is the de-aging that they did on De Niro and Pacino and all those guys. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, I was impressed with the de-aging, but the stuff that's regarding the interaction, the way the character, the way the story played out, and the thing that really drew me eventually into the story, I was going like, I hope they don't just go nuts and just start killing, and and then it's like that scene right there. That was the whole scene of that guy's death in that little snip. That was it. I'm going like, this is great. I mean, it's like you're actually going to get story. You're going to get reasons. You're going to get plot, and there was a lot of it. I mean, it was dense. I mean, apparently this movie cost $180 million to make.
Well, they said that one of the complaints that some people said was like they were expecting it to be more like Goodfellas, and they were like, no, the murders are actually they're just in the background. The story is how this stuff comes about, and so that's like this was meant to be a drama. It wasn't meant to be a gangster film. This was meant to be a drama about that has some gangster stuff in it, and this guy's life going through these events. So, this is I really want to. This is another one. I got a bunch of movies I got to see yet. But this is one that a lot of people have been talking about. Okay. All right, Tom. Your number one, sir.
Well, once again, not my number one since I had to switch them around, but one that I really liked was A Quiet Place.
Okay.
It's one of those where the you kind of get the premise of the movie from the trailers. They did a good job of, more or less letting you know what the movie was going to be about. But the, let's see, the trailers were a little misleading because there's something that happens at the beginning of the movie that if you're watching it, that you're like, oh, trailer was really misleading on that one.
Well, since the sequel's coming out, I think we could talk about it. Actually, George, have you seen this yet?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Then we can talk about it. Yeah. We can spoil the crap out of this.
Okay. Because, the whole scene, because the trailers make you think the scene where they're on the bridge, that the little kid doesn't die in that, that they get the toy or whatever away from them and the creature stops. But then, nope, in the movie, that kid is gone.
Yeah. That kid is toast.
So, but it's a good idea and it was really well made. Once again, somebody put some good thought into this. So, I wonder what part 2 is going to be like.
Well, part 2 apparently is a prequel. It's about what happened.
No.
Are you sure? Because the scene
they show what happens. It's just if you watch the whole trailer, it starts off showing the way it started, but then the rest of it is the mom
and the son and the daughter
and the baby are leaving, going somewhere else, and they run into other people.
See, well, that's the thing I don't understand, because they figured out how to fight these things. Because she's got the hearing aid thing, they figured out how to kill them, how to make them vulnerable. But for some reason, it doesn't seem like they're doing that in the trailer.
Yeah. So, who knows what's up with that? I'll probably be going to go see it, but
I'm definitely going to go see it, and I did like the movie. But like the trailer, I don't know if maybe the movie is like part of it takes place in the past and then the rest of it takes place in the future or something.
Yeah.
But it looks like they seem to know that guy. Was it oh God, what's his name? He damn it. Give me a second, I'll find it.
Oh, the new trailer.
Yeah, the guy that they find, Cillian Murphy. His character is in the sequel, and they find him later, and they find him in the movie. He's the guy that they're talking to in the new trailer for part 2, and they seem to know him, so maybe like he's her brother or something. I don't know, but yeah, it's gonna. I don't know, man. That's the kind of movie. It's like the sequel is really gonna have to do something to really set itself apart.
Yeah,
but okay.
Although this also. My point of why I like going to movies when nobody else is there. Because Rob and I went to go see this together, and there are other people in the audience, and keep your comments to yourself.
Yeah, they didn't. They were getting my dander up. There's a couple of people that didn't realize that they weren't in their living room.
Yeah. So yeah.
So okay, so my if as you can see now from this, my number 1 was Joker. I know some people didn't like this movie. I get why some people wouldn't like this movie. I initially thought I was going to hate this movie because I am a huge Batman fan. And anytime you mess with anything Batman lore or whatnot, you better do something really extreme. It better be awesome. And while I still contend that this is not a good comic book movie, really good movie. I don't like I said, from a comic book standpoint, it's not very accurate, and there are changes to the characters and whatnot that are going to like turn people off. But I went into this with that perception already that this is not going to be a good comic book movie, but it's going to be a good movie because the performance that Joaquin Phoenix gives is amazing.
Yeah.
And I also recognize that it is almost a direct ripoff of Taxi Driver and The Comedian. The King of Comedy. I recognize that it's almost a direct ripoff of those movies. I get it. It's still just his performance sets this movie on a high level. So, yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by this movie.
The humor in this was subtle and excellent.
Mm-hmm.
The build up on some of the jokes were really terrific. Though one thing that really impressed me was that the way Joaquin Phoenix, they edit his delusions with reality.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, wow. For a moment there, I was buying into it and go, oh, wait a minute, that's a delusion. Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, and if you watch, and I love how that they set the rules for that right at the beginning when he's having that delusion about being on the show, and the guy pulls him out of the audience, and Morty pulls him out of the audience and says, if I had a son, I wish he was like you. They kind of set the rules for it right there. You know what I mean? That if you don't see direct interaction immediately, this is all in his head. Mm-hmm. Because when he first has he has his first interaction with Zazie Beetz' character in the elevator. There's no connection. There's no immediate connection, and it cuts away, so you never see them coming across each other again. Every time she shows up, she's just already there, and it's but the I actually did kind of figure out halfway through this. Oh, she's not real.
Well, she's real. His interactions with her.
His interaction. Well, she's real, but his interactions with her, like the part where she's telling, like, I'm glad that guy shot that guy, and all that stuff. You could like right there. I'm like, oh man, because she's just kind of there, and I'm like, okay, she's just echoing himself, giving him validation, just like Robert De Niro's character did in the first scene. Because if you look at every other interaction he has with other people, they're not validating him.
Mm-hmm.
So in those scenes where he's getting validation, that's his delusion, and it's like, oh, okay, I get it. And that was, and you're right though, it was really, really well done, and it was subtle. So and I just love the fact that even though he does get treated terribly and whatnot, his actions clearly mark him as being a villain. You know, he's becoming this agent of chaos.
Well, and a lot of people I know that saw it, you're like, well, it's a good movie. It shows his descent into madness. I'm like, no, it doesn't. He's already crazy at the beginning of the movie. This is just his descent into murder is what it is.
It's basically him just like stopping trying to not be crazy.
Yeah.
You know, he's just like, he's like, I'm just going to embrace this. Like I said, he becomes this agent of chaos. Hey, hello, Speaker of the Dead. How you doing? Okay. Copy that. And drop this in here. Like I said, we always I dropped the link to the StreamYards in here. If anybody wants to come on and give their opinion on any of these movies and stuff, or any of this other stuff we talk about, feel free, guys. That's what this is for. But so Joker is my number one. Frank, what do you got?
It's another movie with Scarlett Johansson. I enjoyed it. I know you didn't because of Thor Lebowski.
Oh, God.
But I did enjoy Avengers Endgame.
Yeah. Avengers Endgame. I didn't hate Avengers Endgame. It just wasn't what I wanted it to be.
That's it. It was a good wrap up for the series.
Yes.
It's actually kind of funny because the things that I didn't like about it, they are now. Oh, hey, what's up, Boogie? My buddy Boogie Bentley, man, from the Wrestling Council.
Yeah,
stopping by, guys.
Boogie Bentley.
We got. By the way, man, if there's anybody who watches this that is a wrestling fan, definitely check out the Wrestling Council this week because we're doing our best of, and basically we're doing the same thing that we're doing now for wrestling. We're doing our best of for wrestling of last year. So definitely check it out. I'm gonna have a whole lot of New Japan in mind. So everybody else is gonna be looking at me weird.
No Boogie, no Boogie the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, he was on vacation, man. He was having a good time. But no, I like Endgame was not a bad movie. It was actually a pretty good movie. It wasn't what it should have been, and I think that's because I realized that they were wrapping everything up. So a lot of the things that I wanted to get, I knew we weren't going to get. Like we're not going to get World War Hulk. We're not going to get. I wanted to get King Thor. I wanted to get Thor when he just goes when he goes Viking, like unworthy Thor. When he just becomes a killing machine. I wanted to get that version of Thor where he's like, instead of being all mopey and in a bathroom, like Lebowski Thor, he becomes more Viking. He becomes like, he just gets violent. You know, he's a Viking, so that's what he does. So I wanted that from him. Other than that, it wasn't a bad movie, man. It just, like I said, it just wasn't quite what I want. And I hate the fact they killed her. I hate the fact that they killed Scarlett Johansson, even though I do know it's comics, it's comic book movies.
Never say never.
Yeah, there's always a possibility. Boogie said Endgame was years of storytelling. Joker is a solid one shot. Yeah, I agree. But we did get so many nods as comic book fans, they just couldn't fit it all in there. No, I get it. I understand, and plus the fact that they wrote certain things and they created all the Marvel movies have to hit these certain beats. And through the years, they've done that. And this movie hits all those beats as well. It's just that there were so many things that we know that we loved. Like World War Hulk was one of my favorite storylines ever. And we got this watered down version of it in Ragnarok. I personally was not a fan of Ragnarok. I get it. I still think it was a decently fun movie. It wasn't what I wanted from Thor, man. I wanted Thor to be more like he was in the comics. But I get it. And then we also the whole tease of possibility of Planet Hulk. And we got this is the Kool-Aid version of of Planet Hulk, man. I wanted the full robust glass of wine, man. But no, it's not a bad, this movie was probably on a lot of people's number ones, so it's Marvel, man.
This was close for me. It was close. And the only thing that I really didn't like was that they included Captain Marvel in this movie. Captain Marvel was an idea. It shouldn't have been in there at all.
No. Well, she was. You could tell that she was tacked on.
Yeah. She was tagged in there for ideology purposes. I mean, if you look at the Captain Marvel scenes, they would have been perfect Thor scenes. The part where Thor would, smash right through that super ship with his hammer.
Oh God, dude.
That would have been
or even Scarlet Witch, man, because like the scene where she starts tearing him up, I'm like, yeah, that's who should be the one that they're pushing here.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, everything else I didn't have a problem with. It was just that part, and the inclusion of Captain Marvel. It just like, you're playing this long game, the football game, and baseball game, whatever you call it. All of a sudden, you have a swap out at the right at the 9th line. You're like 1 foot away. It's crazy.
Yeah, and like I said, it's obvious that she's tacked on.
All that emotional investment for the last 11 years.
Yeah.
You want to throw it to this character? I forget about Brie Larson as a person. I'm talking about you want to throw it to this character who just got introduced previously in a movie that apparently did well, which I don't believe. I mean, it wasn't just Thor. Going through that, it would have been absolutely spectacular. That would have been a comic book moment.
Oh God, yeah, dude. That but Lost in Comics said, "Did you like Professor Four?" No, I didn't like Professor Hulk. I understand. I remember that character.
Yeah, the Hulk freaking out, hulking out, getting angry, and duking it out with Thanos one more time.
Yeah, this was the perfect moment for them to bring in the World Breaker. The perfect moment for them to bring in World Breaker Hulk, and he just decimates friggin' Thanos. Okay, now obviously Thanos has got the gauntlet. He's gonna beat him in that one moment there. So, but yeah, like when he puts the gauntlet on, and he said like it's mostly gamma radiation that could supercharge him, and we could get the World Breaker, which is what I wanted to see. But they didn't do that. So then see here. Boogie said they cut her way out though. I was legit afraid Captain Marvel would take over Endgame. It could have been way worse. Yeah, dude, it really could have been. You could tell that they knew I think they kind of knew the writing was on the wall with the backlash from that character. Especially since like if you see what they've done since, they've really backed off of the whole Captain Marvel is going to be the center of the universe now.
Yeah, and there's a lot of movies on the list that they announced, except for Captain Marvel.
Yeah, and also Kevin Feige actually came out and said that she's not the most powerful character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
But, that's obvious. It's Scarlet Witch. Come on.
Yeah, that's who he said it was. So yeah, and a lot of people are going, uh-oh. But Lost in Comics said, I think she came in at the perfect time and did exactly what she needed to do. Dude, I love the fact that Thanos punched her out of the movie. He literally just douche and she's gone. So I mean,
I was so happy there.
I think everybody in the theater when I was there, they just cheered and laughed. So and here's the thing, I don't hate Brie Larson. She's been in some decent stuff. I thought Kong Skull Island was a great movie. But it's like what Ricky Gervais said last night. Just get your little award, say your little speech, and get the hell off the stage.
Come on, Rob. Rob, you got your hater Brie Larson check in the mail today.
Yeah. Dude, I'm cashing all those friggin' checks. But all right, George, what's your number one, man?
These guys are gonna be very angry. My number one is The Rise of Skywalker.
Ooh.
You know what? I'm not angry.
By why? It's not because it's a great movie. It's not because it's a mediocre movie. It's because it's probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I thought Ed Wood, Planet from Outer Space, was bad, but gosh darn it, you know what? I look back at that movie. I'm not even talking about The Last Jedi. That's dead to me. It doesn't exist. I'm talking about Ed Wood. There's so much existentialism in there. There's so much philosophy in that movie, and you know there is a plot in that movie. Rise of Skywalker. There's nothing here. It's not even a Star Wars movie. This is why I like this movie. I think this is my number one movie. Why? I'll tell you why. Because I did an article for Bleeding Cool when I realized that the Rise of Skywalker plot is actually copy and paste of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Beat for beat.
Yeah, I've seen that.
In order of appearance. And in most cases, it's either on the minute or plus and minus on the minutes of all the beats.
Yeah.
And the moment he takes that sword, that little dagger, and points it at the Death Star, is the very moment where they remove the Ark out of its casing, and you see it for the first time.
Dude, that dagger, when she holds it up, I was like, oh my God, now you're stealing from the Goonies.
Oh, but you know what? That dagger is thousands of years old. So how is it that a 1,000-year-old dagger is able to tell you? I know. Okay, here's another logic point, which I love so much in this movie, which is why it's my number one movie. It's because it's probably the worst movie ever made for the budget that has ever been put in there. All these incredible talent. I'm not talking about the visual effects people that are the yes people and they just have to do the work. I'm talking about the creatives behind it, the people who chose the story, people who directed the story. I'm talking about more than one director in this story because it definitely wasn't JJ. I'm talking about the producers of the story, the money people, the shareholders, all these people that come together, all these geniuses that are making millions of dollars, and they couldn't put together a story that was well received as the Joker. So one of the main plot twists in the story, or things that really it just kind of blew my mind is, well, the Emperor is in a part of the galaxy that has a cloud, and it's very difficult to get to that cloud. In fact, navigation into that cloud or that area is so difficult. You need a map. You need some sort of guidance system and all that stuff. And there's no way for any of these Star Destroyers that have a Death Star ray gun underneath them could ever get out. But before you even got to that location, there was an actual Death Star, a Star Destroyer with a Death Star ray gun blowing up a planet. How did that guy get out of the cloud?
I think that weapon was supposedly attached to Kylo's existing. Dude. Okay, I want you to. All right, dude. Logic does not exist in this thing. Okay.
Obi-Wan Kenobi hand wave. Plot does not exist. Logic does not exist. It does not make sense. You can move along now.
Okay, thank you. I'm like, oh God. All right. So that's our best movies here, guys. But since this is a comic book, this is my channel called Comic Book Bob.
One last point, and the reason why I consider this for me personally the best movie of 2019 is because it's either gonna prove to Disney that they should not come into go against your audience, your paying audience. Never crap on your paying audience, because you're not going to do well. And I hope this resets the people there at Disney, the decision makers, because if the decision makers are not going to reset their thinking and actually produce good quality content for their audience that actually pays for this stuff, that's been supporting Star Wars for the last 40 years, that George Lucas has been making $500 million a year on licensing alone. Well, the bean counters are going to come to them eventually, which I think is happening now. It's going to say, well, you're either going to go broke or you have to make money. You have to choose which one you want. One thing's for sure, the shareholders are not going to get their dividends next month.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on to comic books, because this is a comic book channel.
It's in the name.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to fix. I'm boomering for a second. Sorry. Okay. I'm okay now. I'm better. How are you? All right. So, my favorite comics of this year. I'm actually just going to break it down. I'm going to give my top three, and because we're running out of time here. My top three for this year, my personal top three, were Immortal Hulk, the first initial story run of the Immortal Hulk. I friggin' loved it. They took the Hulk back to being a horror comic, man, and it was a legit horror comic. Now the current storyline that they're doing right now, I don't really care for it. It's just nowhere near as good as the initial one. But yeah, this actually the first run of the Immortal Hulk kind of reminded me of that of the initial run of Swamp Thing. It was on that kind of a genre, and there was some legit they really turned the Hulk into like a horror comic, and I really liked it. Second one would be Die. I don't know if you guys have seen any of this. Tom, you're more of an indie guy, so you might be aware of this book. Die is basically a comic. It's like the whole idea behind it is this group of well, they're like in their 40s now. These group of people who used to play this like a tabletop role play game, like a D&D kind of game. They basically they basically end up in the world that they created in a way. I'm trying to describe this without screwing it up, without giving it away too.
They jumped into the matrix of a D&D horror game.
Kind of. It's basically they this game that they used to play, they basically they screwed up, and they disappeared when they vanished without a trace. And they went to this world, like this fantasy world, and a lot of stuff got screwed up in it. And then later on, when they get older, they have to basically go back. So it's like basically what happens when fantasy goes wrong. And Boogie said, yeah, Immortal Hulk started off so good, then it got bored and dropped, which kept it off my list for 2019. Yeah, it did kind of start dragging a little bit in the middle, and then it's kind of fell off. But then the way it finished at the end was actually really good, so I really liked it. But yeah, if you're like a Dungeons and Dragons fan like I am, Die is a really good book.
Have to check it out.
Yeah, it's basically there are these 6 characters, and they're like I'm trying to explain it, man, because it's I don't want to screw it up. It's it's basically they end up in this world. They appear later, and then they have to go back and fix everything and deal with all the stuff that happened. But yeah, and then in my number 3, and then my top book is gonna be Batman: Curse of the White Knight. There was a close call between that and House of X, Powers of X, because what Hickman's doing and basically rewriting the X-Men mythos and changing everything. It's pretty in depth, and it's really good. But I'm a Batman guy, and Sean Gordon Murphy is awesome. Although I will say I don't think Curse of the White Knight is as good as Batman the White Knight, the first book. But I'm really liking the Curse of the White Knight. So those are my top 3.
All right.
Tom?
Well, there's several that I liked. One that I really liked that came out this year was one called Cookie, which it's a black and white comic. The art it's very detailed, but it's also just simple because it's just black and white, and it's about these fae characters that live in the other realm, and the one guy whose name is Cookie likes to sneak out into the real world and steal cookies, and so he's obsessed with them, and whenever he comes back, all the other little fae creatures try to steal his cookies. But for some reason, the barrier between the two worlds is pretty thin. And this a dog comes through, and then a little girl goes through trying to find her dog, and her dog's name is Cookie. So about 20% of the dialogue in this comic is just the word cookie, because it's the guy's name. There's cookies in it. It's the dog's name, and the little girl, since this is told from the fae's perspective, they can't understand. So anytime she's talking, she's saying stuff, but you don't know what it is. But the only word that you get when she's talking is when she says cookie, because she's talking about her dog. But I liked it. I enjoyed it. It's I believe it's an Antarctic Press comic. Mm-hmm. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Now let's see my quick list here that I drew up. What else we got? Oh yeah, Punchline. Punchline was really good. We talk about that all the time.
I didn't put that on my list because I knew you were probably going to drop it on there.
Yeah, Punchline. Like I said, we've talked about it several times. It is really good. I really enjoy it. Hope the story keeps going along good. Done a good job so far. And my favorite one from this year is my favorite one from last year, and that's Monstrous. Still fantastic. Great plot. Gorgeous artwork. I love it. And I got my niece reading it now too, so.
Cool. Take a swig of beverage.
Yep. How about you, Frank? Anything?
What you got, Frank? Frank ain't got nothing.
Frank's not a big comic book reader, so I'm going to. I know this is a comic book forum here, but it's also other stuff. So I'm just going to shoot out my 3 worst movies of 2019. Would be
okay.
Dark Phoenix, Rise of Skywalker, and Terminator: Dark Fate.
It's funny because I actually did have a list of worst movies, and Rise of Skywalker, Dark Phoenix, and Terminator: Dark Fate are on there, along with Charlie's.
Coincidence is that these 3 movies have the same designer doing the posters.
Yeah. But I also threw Charlie's Angels on there too. So, but okay. George, what kind of comics did you read this year, man? Which ones were your favorites?
I thoroughly enjoyed the Spider-Man Life, I think it was called.
Oh yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. It was right up there with John Byrne's Generations or Marvel Universe Zero, but it had a lot of the nostalgia and feeling of John Byrne's storytelling, which I thoroughly enjoyed. That's in terms of mainstream comics. Within the comics community, Comicsgate, I thoroughly enjoyed. I enjoyed Cyberfrog. Mm-hmm. I was hoping for more plot in the story, but you know what? For what it is, as an opening salvo, I thought it was good. I thought it was actually spectacular. I really enjoyed Earthworm Jim. Mm-hmm. I thought that was terrific. I mean, wow, large panels. I mean, 100 plus pages of large panels. It was nice. The packaging is nice. I mean, in terms of bombastic, that's just right up there. And the last one, it was a subtle book, Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty. No, I have yet to even watch a single episode of Rick and Morty.
I like the TV series, and the comic book does not disappoint. It's like the Simpsons comic books, which complement the Simpsons TV show, and the Rick and Morty comics thoroughly complement the TV show. Yeah, it's bombastic. It's in your face. There's a lot of mental humor that you really have to think about, which I really enjoy. Superman, Batman, all the other stuff, it just went over my head. It's sad all around.
Well, I actually do have a list of the worst comics I read, and almost every single one of them, as a matter of fact, every single one of them is from DC. Wonder Twins was awful. Female Furies was absolute garbage. Tom King's Batman run after issue 25, when he had his falling out with his editor, that book just completely crashed and burned. Bendis has taken an absolute crap on Superman, and Heroes in Crisis just they committed, no pun intended, they committed character assassination on Wally West, and I absolutely hated that. It just drove me insane. And the new series that they're doing now, Flash Forward, where they're actually trying to kind of fix this. Unfortunately, this is one of those situations where it's kind of like a Hal Jordan situation from when he became Parallax. I'm like, look, I'm not a real big fan of the whole reset thing, but in this case, I want a reset. You've taken an absolute crap on Wally West, and I'm not going to have it. And the only way you're going to fix it, in the eyes of a lot of people, is if you completely undo it, like you did with Hal Jordan, where it turned out that it was just Heroes in Crisis. I get the idea behind it, and I thought it was an interesting idea, but what they did to that character and not only that, there is no freaking way in hell Harley Quinn is going to beat the Trinity. There's no way she's going to. Okay. Her beating Batman is a stretch, but it's possible, okay? Because he's a human being. You throw Wonder Woman and Superman into the mix, she's not winning that fight. There's no way. You got someone who can move so fast that he breaks the time barrier, okay? The minute she tries anything, she's done. It's over. She's done. So it's just, God. There's so many things wrong with that series, but I'm not going to go into it, but okay. So that's our comic books. And by the way, I realized that I did a terrible job of explaining Die. The problem is I don't want to spoil anything for it. And so much of the plot of it is so much of what's cool about it in the plot of it is in the description of it. The best way I can describe this is Dungeons and Dragons meets a really, really dark version of Jumanji. Okay. So that's a much more succinct and better explanation for that comic. I really like that comic. Like I said, if you're like me and Tom and Frank, if you're a big tabletop role-playing game guy, you're really going to like that series. I really like that series. But, okay. So I was going to say we should go into talk about television, but really there's only one television show worth of crap, and that's The Mandalorian. So, well, no, that's not true. Mandalorian was good. For me, because we're really going over time here, guys.
You love Batwoman.
Oh God.
How does that thing get renewed for a second season? How?
It was pre-renewed before it even came out, dude. There's actually a rumor that even if they do a second season, they're going to cut it down to like 6 episodes because it's terrible and it's getting horrible ratings. But the TV shows I liked, The Mandalorian, The Expanse. If you haven't watched The Expanse, it's a really, really good show. Check that out. Mindhunters on Netflix is really good. The Boys was fantastic. Loved that. And I have yet to watch The Witcher, so I can't tell you anything about that. But the shows that I did watch, because I didn't watch a whole lot of shows this year. The ones I did watch that were awful to me was the final season of Game of Thrones and the last season of Stranger Things. I thought was terrible.
I haven't seen anything on TV in like 2 years.
Nobody watches TV anymore. That's why I looked at this and I was like, I probably watch more TV than everybody sitting here. But and then I only played like 2 video games this year, so we're not going to talk about that. But anyway,
Rob,
that's
your TV watching is NXT.
Yeah, pretty much.
AEW, SmackDown, and Raw.
That's pretty much it, man.
I
watch wrestling, and even the wrestling I catch later on like the WWE Network and everything. So I always catch that secondhand.
And I got to throw it out there since Boogie's paying attention.
Oh yeah. But I'll be doing a plug for the Wrestling Council this weekend. But anyway, guys, that's our really badly put together
first show of 2020. Yeah.
First show of 2020. We just kind of threw this all together and everything. I apologize for that. This is typically how our things go, though, man. We start talking and then we just go too long on things, and then we start rushing trying to fill everything else in. But anyway,
I got like 12 minutes before we went on. So
yeah, that's my fault. Tom didn't even know what we were going to talk about until like 10 minutes before we started. So, but anyway, I do want to thank everybody who was here. The shows will get better, I promise.
They always do.
But as always, guys, please hit like, subscribe, share this out if you can. It helps us grow. Thanks to George for stopping in. George, you want to do a quick plug for your book, man?
Yeah, if you go to georgepetergatsis.com, you have a chance to get a digital version or the actual printed book. It's ready. You don't have to wait. The book is produced. It's shipping to the backers right now. And there is not going to be a long wait time. The book is ready. It's 120 pages. It's a very dense read. It's a combination of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Star Trek, Orville, Doctor Who, and a lot of superhero. It's a humor book. It's definitely an adult book. There's no swearing or graphic violence, but kids can pick up and read it too. But be prepared when your kids come to you and say, "Daddy, what does the common unconsciousness mean?" And
wow.
Make sure that you have your dictionary or you're prepared. Be
dictionary,
prepared.
Nothing, man. I'm gonna have to go freaking Google that. Okay, yeah. Check out George's book, guys. Also, guys, don't forget. Please. The link is in the description. If you can, go to the GoFundMe for George and Carla, the creators of the Grim Reaper. They had a terrible fire. On Monday, they lost their house, they lost everything. So there's a GoFundMe set up for them to try to help them get back on their feet. And if you just drop like a couple of bucks, that everything's going to help them out. But yeah, that's our show for this week, guys. Check. I'll be on Chester Busby's stream here in about 30 minutes playing Dungeons and Dragons, and then on Thursday, we will be talking about the year in review for wrestling on the Wrestling Council. We will be giving our best wrestler, best female wrestler, all of that. So check it out. It's on Boogie Bentley's channel on the SMB network, 10 o'clock Thursday. Definitely check it out there, guys. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, that's it. We will see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See ya.